Welcome to Manufacturing Talks with Jim Vinosky. Industry has a million cool stories, and Jim talks to the movers and shakers who are making them happen. Let's dive in.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Manufacturing Talks. I'm Jim Vinosky, your host. I'm really glad today to be joined by Jeff Leimbach. So Jeff wrote a book, and let me get this correct. It's called Broken Supply Chains: How Financial Engineering Hollowed American Manufacturing and the Complex Journey to Resilience. We're going to dive into that. Jeff, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Jim, for having me.
So I got to say, you sent me your book a few months back, and I waited to get into it, and I know you were eager for me to read it. And when I finally got into it for real, I mean, I could not stop reading, because it was like every few pages I'd just be saying, yes, yeah, that's exactly right. Yes, I've said that. It was amazing. So, this is our kickoff for me to help get the word out from my end about your book. But, before we dive in and get into those details, why don't you just tell the audience who you are, how you got to where you are today?
Jeff Leimbach. I've been in a supply chain for a couple of decades. I grew up in machine shops in Southeast Wisconsin, doing many different things, and ended up in purchasing, material handling, shipping, receiving, materials manager. I've done a lot of different things. So I've had a lot of views from a lot of different areas. And that's basically me right now. And I have a lot of experience on the floor, off the floor, which I think lends to be writing this book from a different perspective than most others.
Yep. Makes sense. Now, what is it that prompted you to, writing a book? I'm in the middle of my second one right now. I know it is no mean feat. So what prompted you to get into this and to actually take all the time it took to put an excellent book together?
It's been in the works for several years, but to be honest, when my brother passed away last year, I was thinking,
sorry to hear that.
What am I leaving? What knowledge am I leaving, and to whom?
Yep.
And when I die, it's going to go away. So I'm trying to, and I wanted to make it something worthwhile, long lasting, and something that's important to today and our future as a company, as a country,
Yep.
So I've had this in my head for a long time. I've written down notes, more notes than are in this book. So when he passed, I wanted to leave a legacy type thing for my family and also for people that know me, and to try to make an impact in the manufacturing world.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because I just posted a post this week. You may have seen it about, I had some folks here who did a video with me, and they posted it, a Grand Rapids local media outlet that invited me in to do some video recording, and they posted about my writing for Forbes and how that came about. And one big piece of that was actually I lost my sister about 8 years ago. So I know exactly the feeling, and she was a fellow writer, and so it was very instrumental in kind of kicking me in the butt, because I'd fallen by the wayside on my writing and getting going on that. So, as I said in that post, sometimes out of great tragedy, there can be some positives as well. Sounds like you had a similar experience.
Correct. Yep. And like with him, it was like, who's going to remember anything he did when he passes or when I pass? Because I have all the memories of him. Not many other people do. So I tried to create something that people could look at and just remember, reflect, and hopefully make a change.
I hope so too. And I find it interesting. We have that in common, and we've got manufacturing in common, but our careers have been different. I came out of the engineering world and went into the management world, and was definitely seeing things from a different angle. But as I personally read your book, like I said, it was just this constant stream of affirmations of stuff I'd been thinking and saying, revelations of things that it was like, yeah, more detail that you put in there into things that I've kind of felt needed to be highlighted, and you did such a great job of it. So, your first half of your title talks about the financial engineering and the hollowing out of American manufacturing. So, um, you in the book talked about extraction, and that was one of those real revelations to me, because I had been kind of mulling over some of the effects of things like private equity and corporate ownership, and I think you just hit the nail on the head. So let's discuss that point first. What
Yeah.
what is it you mean by extraction, and what was the result of that mindset?
Well, I think it's like I've seen too many companies where people come in and they do things with the sole purpose of leaving with as much money as they can,
Yep.
extracting out as much value, and then leaving. Like I've talked to other people, it's like you go in and you suck the blood out of something and leave the husk.
Yeah.
You extracted every life force piece out of it, and then wiped your hands and moved on to the next one. I mean, so extracting to me was what people consciously, subconsciously do with no regard to the future.
Right. Yeah.
And there's
And
so much short-term thinking in this country. I think it's
exactly.
affecting us negatively.
Exactly. I that's exactly where I was about to go. I have written about that from a different angle, around some of the financial measures that have become popular. And it's driven that short-term thinking. It's this idea that if you're not getting immediate payback for investment, somehow it's a bad investment. But manufacturing, by its nature, is long-term investment.
But I mean, like, as I point out, after World War II, we did a great job of
Yep.
reinvesting everything we made back into the companies for their prosperity and to keep them
Right.
going, leave them to our children, give our country some security. But now we're all
Yep.
worried about the numbers on a spreadsheet at the end of the quarter and how do we make our boss happy?
Yeah.
I
And
think we've
it's,
lost sight of what we can do.
yep, it's a collection of different things. I mentioned private equity, and I know there's good practices in
Yep.
private equity companies, but there is definitely this undercurrent of exactly what you're talking about, where it's that short term, 3, 5, 7 year window of getting both the initial investment and a fair payout back, sometimes an unfair payout. And it does. I mean, it starves the company of that necessary capital, both to keep the existing productive assets functional and then to invest for the future. And so I hear exactly what you're saying there. And you yourself talked about private equity, and um, it just felt, as I was reading, it was like, man, it's like we talked about this before you wrote it, because you hit so many of the basic points that were in my head. So what specifically there, do you see as problematic, and what do we have to change?
I I think the problem, with private equity, some of the issues is they are short term, they're thinking, and we have done it to ourselves in some of the tax codes and tax breaks. Because I know people used to invest. I might get this wrong because I'm not an accountant, but a lot of people used to save money in their company and buy new machinery, but there was not a lot of investment in R&D, apprenticeships, because private equities see those as not short-term gains. They're actually drains. So they get rid of those.
Yep.
So you're not only killing now, you're killing the future. There's no innovation, R&D, as there used to be. Private equity has one mindset. I want to get out more than I put in. And I was surprised to learn some of the things that they do. Like when they go in and they buy a company and then they sell the property, they
Mhm.
lease it back.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden this company has a bill it didn't have before.
Yep.
So they're just adding and it's already hard to be a manufacturing company and make money
Yep.
with the competition you have worldwide and even locally. So I think private equity, we structured the tax breaks to hurt ourselves.
Right. Yeah. And even the way we view those financials, like I said,
Yep.
a piece I'd written about was Clayton Christensen, the innovation guru, hammered on the notion of return on invested capital, return on net capital,
Yep.
and talked about essentially what you're saying is productive assets are a negative, which is absolute insanity. And yet that's what our finance people, our Wall Street folks are telling us.
Or when everyone throws around EBITDA,
Yep.
like it tells you everything about a company.
Yep.
It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't tell you about the machine that's going to break soon.
Yep.
It doesn't tell you about the needs of the company physically. Like, okay,
Yeah.
you need to do water cooler, you need to fix this, you need to update this machinery, you need to invest. They don't just numbers thrown around by people that try to make things look better than they actually are, or just I'm not sure if people use it as a selling point or if they use it for bonus material, but I don't think EBITDA is, for manufacturing anyways, a good way to tell if a company's viable or not. Or
Yeah. Yeah. Indicator of company health. What I find interesting too is oftentimes we in manufacturing kind of buy in without challenging some of these bits of wisdom. I'll do the air quotes there. For example, I just saw a guy I respect very highly putting out some kind of rules of thumb about manufacturing business, and he had listed the expected payback period for capital investment for manufacturing projects, and it was 1 to 3 years. Now, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about with payback period, that means essentially you're getting 100% of your investment back. The project that you did now has returned everything that you invested into it. And okay, the investment loses value from the get-go. Fair enough. So a payback period doesn't imply a full 100% return, but it's pretty close. And what other investment do we do where we say we've got to get essentially all of the investment back in 1 to 3 years?
not I know of.
It's crazy. And yet we're parroting that in manufacturing.
And also, I think with manufacturing, I think I may be jumping around here, but
No, it's
I think
fine.
an issue we have also is what I believe they call the silver transition. A lot of manufacturing companies the owners are older.
Yep.
They're looking to retire. They want to get out. Either their kids aren't capable or want to, or they don't have any.
Yeah.
And so there's so many books I saw for manufacturing companies to make them to beautify themselves to private equity.
Oh yeah.
What they have to do to make themselves look attractable, to a private equity firm so they can sell it for a higher value. And I can't fault them. I mean, they're doing what they want to do. It's their company.
Yep.
But I think we need to get away from that where it's okay to sell it to private equity because they're there to help you. No one's there to help you. They're there to help themselves. I mean, if we're being honest, and they're looking to go in, gut it, make much money they can. And I think we don't have enough of investors regionally or nationally or even an organization say, this company over here is looking to sell in the next 3 to 5 years. Let's see if we can find somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even sure if that's possible, but it's just ideas I throw around and think about. And we have so many people and I'm jumping again. We need to get away from this stigma that manufacturing is dirty and you can't make a living.
For sure. Yep. Yeah. Another point I've made repeatedly and absolutely. And I love what you say about kind of that reality of private equity. And again, I would love to hear from private equity folks who are doing things right, because so far I've tried to get people to discuss this openly and honestly, and instead I get silence, which to me, immediately says, uh-oh, then there's a bigger problem here. But the flip side is, in the absence of private equity coming along and buying those companies, these people who want out may not have a buyer. And
Right.
so you got to face that reality. So yeah, to your point, coming at it from a different angle and really reevaluating what the business of manufacturing looks like and how it differs from this mindset we have today, and therefore what the implications should be if you're an owner looking to sell and you want your company to stand the test of time. What are those things that you should be looking at in the buyer's world? Should be a piece of what you take into account for sure.
Because I mean, like, we also have to take into account the people that are working at these companies.
Yeah.
Because, like, as I discussed, as we talked about earlier, industrial commons used to be very common.
Yep.
And
I love
industrial
that
commons
term.
is it's not only the company, it's the community, it's the schools in the area. Everyone's has basically a goal to keep the supply chain strong, education, what is needed.
Yep.
And I think some companies nowadays have to embrace innovation, which they don't, and just move on. But I think we need some continuing education for either current employees or open up apprenticeships again like they used to be, where
Right.
we're bringing in the kids with the new knowledge or the new way of doing things while learning from the elders about how things that you don't learn in the book.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
if we can blend that, I think that'll help make more healthier manufacturing companies, make them more viable, make them just more profitable, and make them stronger. Because when a company dies, it doesn't just kill itself, it kills the community.
Right. Which is a huge point you made in the book. And you actually said we had the lost industrial commons. So you mentioned
Yep.
industrial commons, and you're exactly right. It's not just the manufacturer itself. It's all the other companies that had supported it. It's that community aspect of the
It's
schools and the
the
tradespeople
gas
and
stations and the grocery stores, the
yes.
tax base for the school.
Well,
Now
and
big
it
hit.
goes to what we talk about with the Rust Belt, and fortunately, the Rust
Yep.
Belt does seem to be recovering somewhat. But you drive through these little towns that were just decimated as industries went overseas, and you see all of that, all of the shuttered service stations and quick marts and
It's like an
everything. Every
ecosystem.
business is
Everybody
affected.
feeds off of each other.
Hmm.
And like you mentioned, like going out of the country. And I think what surprised me is like there's not many books like mine out there discussing what we did to ourselves. Everyone blames offshoring because it's
Yep.
pretty to see. It's great for politics. It's great for the visual. It's easy to see that and point your fingers at someone beside yourself.
Yep.
And reshoring, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But I think we're not at the point where we can't recover. But I think every year we get to the point where it's going to be a lot harder to recover because we're losing so much knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's hold off on that, because I definitely want to dive into that really deep around what we're seeing and what it will take to really have that wave be a true continuing and hopefully burgeoning wave. But you talked about something and actually made me think of, so I had Mike Rowe on the show just a few weeks ago,
Yep.
and it was a different discussion. We were talking about how we've lost the trades as a valued career path. And he made a point that goes exactly to what you're saying. Because I said, how did we miss this? We knew the baby boomers were retiring. We knew there were 2 to 3 generations where we denigrated the trades as a career path. And he said, we don't want to talk about it because it's such a terrible story. And we don't want
Right.
to have to face up to what we've done to ourselves. And I think you nailed it. It's the same thing with what we've done around sending our industry offshore. No one really wants to face that. Yep, there are ideals. I'm still a free trader at heart, and I always will be. And yet we don't live in an ideal world, and that is an ideal prospect. And so not reacting to what didn't work out the way we intended it is pretty short-sighted, and yet that's the path we're on because we don't want to face up to those tough facts.
Yep. People have, well, everyone has a hard time with the tough conversations.
Yep.
Like I said, I was surprised there weren't more books like mine out there, but I could find a whole bunch on how to make your company look good to private equity or how to make money off of private equity.
Yep. Well, and so, again, that there's certainly that need out there, and there can definitely be a positive for the people trying to sell to pursue that path, but it may not be the best path for us overall as a country. So I'm glad you wrote the book, and that's why I'm, as of today now, firmly in your camp and helping get it known and get it into people's hands. If you want to understand, why things went the way they went, I think Jeff has laid it out extremely well and goes into great detail on some of those things, like I said, that have been burrs in my saddle, and really documented and detailed it all in a very readable fashion. So as we talk about reshoring, it is real, it's happening. Yep. We've got a bit of a wave over the last 2, 3, 4 years. Harry Moser does a great job of both tracking that and, with his reshoring initiative, helping bring visibility to it and advocacy for it. What, in your estimation, are we missing still? What do we need to get in place so that reshoring small wave becomes a tidal wave of getting some of our critical industries back on our shores?
Well, I'm not a subject matter expert, but in my opinion,
you wrote a book. You're now definitely a subject matter expert.
Okay. I think we need I think a hard part with this country too is collaboration between many different parties. We need government for either tax breaks, or we need policymakers. We need educators. We need business owners to all get together and discuss what we need as a group. I mean, everybody can take their pie and shine it up and make it look pretty. But is it actually going to help the whole? Are we doing stuff what we actually need to do to help the country become whole again? Because I think if we can't make what we invent, it's hurting us even more. We need to be able to make what we invent, improve what we do, and also train the people within our country on how to do it. I think apprenticeships need to be brought back. I think R&D is going to come back, because I believe there's something in the new tax law that's allowing that to improve, but I'm not sure. I think manufacturers need to look at themselves. They need to embrace innovation, like I said. There needs to be training of your current employees, because you just can't bring in new people and expect them to. I think there needs to be that cross of the old and the new, learning from each other. I don't care what age you are. I can probably learn something from you if you're willing to teach me.
Yep.
I think those are some steps we need to start with, but everything needs to be, and I don't think it could be one big giant, just like cookie cutter, this is what we're doing. I think also it has to, in a way, be industry specific, because everyone has different needs within said industries. But I think we need to all come together as a country and just figure out what the heck we need to do, because we're losing a lot and we lost a lot, and we can get it back. It's not too late. We're smart. We know what to do. Now we just have to put people in place to get it done, or at least get it started. And I'm hoping people, after they read my book, they either agree with it or don't agree with it. If you don't agree with it, great. Give me your ideas. Let's collaborate. Let's find the way. I think my book will just be the start, I hope, to the conversation. And then we just keep growing and keep going and keep moving forward, because you can't get there if you don't start.
Now, I agree with everything you said. Let me be the devil's advocate here. I know a big challenge for manufacturers, especially the small and medium guys that make up, north of 95% of our manufacturers in America. They're just getting by day to day on keeping their business going. So
Right.
how are they able to raise their view that bit to, get away from the day to day to engage in this broader effort to
Good question. I mean,
revitalize manufacturing?
maybe there's a spokesperson they could have. Maybe there's someone in the area, because like I know some places like industrial commons, if we could get back to that where everyone is part of that ecosystem, maybe they could have someone who speaks for area. But I mean, it's hard I know a lot of small manufacturers. I mean, some are going under,
Yep.
either due to lack of innovation, efficiency. I mean, I think a lot of them need to address efficiencies, because every place I've been, everyone seems to say we're going to improve efficiencies. And then it was like, oh, well, that's going to cost money. Maybe it can wait. We're doing it.
Right.
We're doing it. We've been doing it that way for 30 years. We're fine.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think that question you have can't be answered right now. I think it's something that I will think about even more. I think other people, hopefully when they hear this, will think about it and give their ideas. Because I'm a team guy. I don't know everything. If I'm the smartest guy in the room, I'm in the wrong room. And oh boy, is that room in trouble.
Yep, I hear you.
So that was a great question. I mean, but yeah, it's hard for the smaller and medium and manufacturers to stop and think about other things to do because they're too busy in the day to day.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what do you think of the outfits that I guess historically I think people have believed were doing some of this work? I think about the big E being National Association of Manufacturers, NAM. But then we've also got every state has the manufacturing extension partnerships, the public-private kind of nonprofit arm that advocates for manufacturing in their states and areas. Have they been effective? Do they need to step up their game? How
I think
do they
they've been
play in
lost.
this?
I think a lot of people don't even know about them, or they
Oh, I
don't,
know. You're right.
or they sit back waiting for people to come to them. I don't think they're taking the initiative to go out to help, in my opinion. I think they sit in an office and they wait for people to call them, email them. And to be honest, I don't think a lot of people, small, medium manufacturers, even know that assistance is available. Either through, like we said, they don't even have the time, or no one's even made them aware of. There are these places that can help.
Yeah, so a piece of it is really playing up those as potential parts of the solution then.
I would believe so, yeah.
An awareness element.
Yep.
No,
I think it's an issue with
I'll
a lot
say
of larger organizations is awareness.
yeah, yep. When it comes to NAM in particular, I was open in criticizing some of what I thought they were missing during the last election. Energy, reliable and affordable energy being number one, where they were almost
Well, your
silent
state
through the
is-
election. But I'll tell you what, when it came to some of the recent legislation, they were very vocal on top of it, have been vocal since about great, we've got things, these things done, and now here's what's next. So right now I'm applauding what NAM's been doing, especially here in the last year or so.
Now, do you think it's because you and others are holding them accountable?
I think it is absolutely 100% my doing. No, I think there was a bit of a wake-up call around. I think, NAM tries to be pretty nonpartisan. And I absolutely understand why that would be. They've got to play nice with whoever's got the levers of power. But that being said, when you're facing down what was literally potential existential disaster for American manufacturing in the last election, and you're staying on the sidelines, you're going beyond nonpartisan at that point. And I think there was a wake-up call, certainly people being vocal with, hey, holy cow, how are you missing this? Had to be a piece of it. But I think there was also probably internal, reflection and discussion through that process that said, yeah, we got to change things a little bit here.
Well, like my communication teacher said, it's even when you don't say anything, you're still communicating.
Well, that's exactly right. Yeah, absolutely true. I always go to the rush line, right? If you choose not to decide, you've still made a choice.
Right.
Similar. When we get back to the manufacturers themselves, if there's one call to action that you would want them to hear loud and clear coming out of your book and coming, into this now kind of selling mode of getting the book into people's hands and getting some action going, what would that be?
Open your mouth.
Yeah.
Talk to people, policymakers, people in your local government, because you have to find the time, otherwise you won't survive.
Yep.
You need to advocate for yourself and for the industry. And if you guys get together, you have a stronger voice. I mean, sure, you may compete with the guy down the road, but if you guys got together and saw things that were needed in your community, or say you wanted this local tech school to look into having this kind of program, it's not about you or them. It's about doing what's right for the now and the future, and feeding both yourselves those employees that you're going to need, or the continuing education for the employees you already have. I would say speak up.
Yeah.
No one knows you're there. No one knows your needs until you say something.
Yep, I agree.
Look internally for efficiencies. If you don't, maybe you don't have to spend a lot of money. Just look after changes. Ask your people on the floor. Ask the people that are doing the day-to-day out there.
Yes.
What's your pain point? What's the bottleneck? Maybe it's as simple as moving a rack or getting an extra fork truck or doing a pallet jack. Maybe it's getting the flow of the factory a little better. But open your mouth and be open to listening. I've worked with too many managers who have all the ideas, yet don't listen to anyone.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of the kind of,
I think that's the hardest part for managers is listening.
and it seems especially endemic in manufacturing, where it's this Achilles heel. I think because so many managers have come up from the floor and they kind of hang their hat on their personal abilities and their expertise, not realizing that once you're in that leadership role, that management role, your number one job is to bring other people up into that expertise, not hoard it for yourself.
And I think a lot of leaders, like when I was in charge of people, because I was classified as a servant leader, because I believed I was there for them. They weren't there for me.
Yep.
And I think we've lost a lot of that. And I think some of the corporate and private equity, because it's been going on for so long, they promote those people that follow their narrative or ideology over even maybe the most experienced or best person.
Yeah, excellent point. Another thing that has to change is we've got to stop this squashing of alternative viewpoints. I don't care if it's politics or how you run the factory or what it is. This throttling of certain viewpoints has got to stop.
I totally believe our country was built on differences and compromising those differences to what's best for the whole.
Yep. Agreed. Well, Jeff, what haven't I asked you that is important? Have I missed something here?
No, I think we covered a lot of stuff. I mean, there's just so much. I guess I would ask people to either, buy the book, read it, get it from somebody. I just want to get this conversation started so we can get something moving. And maybe if it helps anybody, it's a plus for me. I mean, I know there's pockets in our country that are already addressing this, like upper Wisconsin, some stuff in New York, places in Pennsylvania. They're doing their job. But I think if we can get more people involved, get more people to think about what's going on, and then more smaller, medium manufacturers can just start speaking out let's get something going. Because it's a great country. And like, I want to put it like, we have a great painted house, but the foundation's starting to crumble. We have to fix our foundation.
Perfectly said. There will be a link in the show description for the book. So go buy yourself a copy of it. Also look at the publishing date, the airing date of this show. A couple days after that, I'm going to have a Substack going into a little more of the kind of point by point details that Jeff hit through his book, and give you a little more to chew on and to think about as you get the book and read it. And yeah, definitely that call to action around being vocal, being part of the broader group in helping turn things around, helping be a proponent for American manufacturing. It's vital. So Jeff, wonderful job. The book is Broken Supply Chains, How Financial Engineering Hollowed American Manufacturing and the Complex Journey to Resilience. Phenomenal read. Well done, my friend. And I look forward to seeing how this book gets off the shelves. I'll be out there pushing it for you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for being with us. And as always, of course, thanks to you and the audience. You're why we're here. Today, we're definitely pushing you to do something we want you to do. Not every show is going to be that way, but this one's vital. So I definitely am looking to you guys to help promote this, help get the discussion going in the direction it needs to go. We'll be here every Tuesday. Always great shows. Can't promise they're all going to be as truly vital and informative as what Jeff brought us today, but they're all going to be at least a little vital and informative. So tune back in next Tuesday. We'll have another one for you. In the meantime, I'm Jim Vinosky from Manufacturing Talks, signing off. So long.
Thanks for tuning in to Manufacturing Talks with Jim Vinosky. Watch for new episodes dropping every Tuesday. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.